3-step formula to resolve conflict with an angry partner. Communication tips. Hey there. If you've ever been in a romantic relationship or dated someone, you've probably wondered how to handle conflicts, especially when the other person is angry. Let's talk about this. Can you actually argue effectively while staying calm? Yes, you absolutely can, and it's not just about being polite. This strategy isn't just for resolving fights. It's a powerful tool to get what you want from someone if you use it intentionally. But here's the catch. Don't misuse it as a manipulative tactic. That's not healthy. And guess what? Some women might use this approach as a trap. If that's the case, getting involved could backfire, leaving you feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. So, the key is to figure out whether their anger is genuine or a red flag. If it's the latter, it's time to walk away. I'll explain how to tell the difference later. Stick with me until the end, and I'll share a simple formula to help you resolve conflicts with an angry woman effectively. If you're new to my channel, hello. I'm Anna Jorgensen, and this is just the tip. Before we dive in, let me share a quick insight from John Gottman, often called the godfather of relationship psychology and author of several groundbreaking books. He says that 69% of conflicts in relationships never get resolved. That's right. Many of the arguments you have are destined to remain unsolved. The solution? Choose your partners wisely at the start. Because, trust me, you'll eventually face a conflict in any intimate relationship. But if you use this formula I'll share, you'll not only resolve conflict better, but also build deeper connections. That means you'll be more likely to achieve what you want. Of course, there are entire books on this topic, but that would take too long. Instead, I'll focus on the love sandwich approach, a method that works for any conflict, not just romantic ones. Here's how it works. First, you need to prep your kitchen. If you're both in a heated state, you can't really talk rationally. So, the first step is to de-escalate. When we're triggered, our brains automatically shift to the limbic system, the emotional part, making us react rather than listen. You only hear the first 8 seconds of an argument, then things spiral. So, the best move is to agree to pause the conversation until both of you are calmer. Don't leave it open-ended, like saying, "We can talk about this later." That's just a way of avoiding the issue. Instead, commit to discussing it after some time has passed, like after sleeping on it. If you can't do it in the morning, find a time when both of you are ready to listen. This is the foundation of effective communication. Ready to learn more? Let's dive in. To address this topic effectively, it's important to approach the conversation with intention and empathy. As you prepare to discuss this tomorrow evening after dinner, remember that one person among you will need to take the lead in initiating the dialogue. If you're feeling hesitant, step up as the brave one and say, "Let's talk about this." The first slice of love involves expressing genuine concern for her perspective. Imagine she approaches you with an idea or argument, and instead of dismissing it outright, acknowledge her feelings, no matter how different your views may be. This validation creates a safe space for her to share her thoughts, which can shift your mindset from defensiveness to openness. For instance, if she argues about a specific issue, you might respond, "I understand how you feel about that. It's valid to have those concerns." This approach encourages her to feel heard and more receptive to your input. The second slice of love focuses on appreciation, even when you disagree. Even if you don't fully agree with her argument, express warmth toward her perspective. For example, you might say, "I appreciate how you're thinking about this. It's rare to see such thoughtful consideration." This gesture fosters trust and shows respect for her voice, making her more likely to engage in a constructive dialogue. The third slice of love is a subtle yet powerful technique. Start with a sincere compliment or acknowledgement of something she loves about you. If she opens her discussion on a disagreement, this form of love can be far more impactful. When we're in conflict, we often default to defensiveness, but if we feel her understanding, we're more open to discussing solutions. For instance, if she's upset about a specific issue, you might say, "I really admire how you handle things. It's refreshing to see someone so committed to this." This reinforces her value and invites collaboration. Key to resolving conflicts effectively is ensuring the other person feels seen and respected. If you're struggling to find common ground, Remember that even small gestures of appreciation can bridge the gap. Studies show that people are more willing to compromise when they feel valued. However, it's crucial to avoid relying solely on logic. While women may be less logical when emotionally charged, this doesn't mean arguments should be dismissed. Instead, focus on creating a respectful environment where both parties can express their needs and find a solution that benefits everyone. In summary, the best chance of reaching a mutual agreement lies in acknowledging her feelings and showing genuine care. Whether through validation, appreciation, or a simple compliment, these strategies help foster understanding and build trust. Remember, the goal isn't to win the argument, but to create a space where both sides can grow and connect. Sometimes, conflicts in relationships stem from seemingly simple issues, like socks left lying around or the last straw that pushes someone over the edge. In this case, let's assume you're arguing about the stinky socks. It's important to recognize that this isn't a situation where ignoring your partner or walking away is the best choice, although I'll explain more about that later. After taking some time to calm down, you've returned to discuss the situation. If you're able to have this conversation calmly with your partner, that's a huge bonus and a sign that your relationship has strong foundations. Successfully engaging in open communication like this can really show you're committed and considerate. Now, imagine if your partner approached you and said, "Here's where I think you're right." Hearing that kind of acknowledgement makes you much more receptive to a constructive discussion. So what should you do? Start by approaching her and saying, "Here's where I think you're right." You could admit fault by saying, "I do leave my stinky socks all over the place," which validates her feelings. Alternatively, if you want to really show understanding, you could say, "I understand why you're frustrated about having to pick up my smelly socks." If pride gets in the way and expressing these feelings feels difficult, consider expressing appreciation for her efforts around the house, such as, "I'm grateful for all the extra things you do, and I know I don't tell you that enough." Just be careful not to say, "all the little things you do," because that might unintentionally minimize her contributions. Instead, focus on expressing appreciation for her efforts as a whole. Next, you want to clarify what exactly you're asking for. This is the ask, which serves as the filling in the metaphorical sandwich of your conversation. The ask is the part where you make a specific request or express what you need in the relationship. Effective partnership means being a teammate, working together to meet each other's needs. To do this well, you need patience and active listening. Active listening is about truly trying to understand what your partner is saying, rather than just waiting for your turn to speak or planning your rebuttal. It's listening with the intent to understand. A helpful technique is paraphrasing what she says, maybe by saying, "Let me make sure I understand. You're feeling frustrated about the socks because..." Is that correct? This gives her a chance to clarify if you misunderstood. If you got it right, she'll feel truly heard and understood, which can make her more open to resolving the issue. If you didn't get it quite right, she'll have the opportunity to explain further. Recognizing that this approach isn't always easy, because many of us weren't taught these skills and lacked good role models, is important. When you first try this, it might feel awkward or even unsuccessful. That's normal. The key is to keep practicing. Over time, your skills will improve, and these conversations will become more natural. Even if she isn't immediately receptive, these efforts still make a difference. You might consider telling her, "This is how I'd like to handle conflicts moving forward," if that's comfortable for both of you. If she's not on board right now, don't worry. You can still make a positive impact by maintaining these respectful, understanding interactions. Importantly, mastering this approach doesn't mean you're just silently accepting everything that matters to you. Rather, it's about communicating in a way that leads to win-win solutions, helping you get more of what you want without conflict. As you become better at this kind of dialogue, your relationship can become more harmonious and satisfying overall. It's important to approach conversations with sincerity and avoid any sarcastic remarks. Let's consider a practical example of how to express your needs effectively. Imagine you want to ask someone to help you with a small issue. It would really simplify things for me if the laundry hamper was located where I change my clothes, rather than in the laundry room, where it's piled up with clean clothes that I'm unsure how to handle or that I get scolded for moving. I understand this might seem like a traditional gender role issue, but many of us can relate to it. I realize it requires extra effort on your part to relocate the hamper, but doing so would make it much easier for me to ensure that you won't have to deal with my dirty socks anymore. Would you be willing to help me with that? After you present your request, it's essential to engage in a discussion. This is still part of the main part of your conversation, and she may respond positively, perhaps saying, "I hadn't thought of it that way." Remember, relationships often involve some level of compromise, whether you're the one leaving the socks around or the one picking them up. If you want to enhance the conversation, consider adding a supportive question like, "Is there anything I can do to assist you in helping me?" Think of the movie Jerry Maguire. While she may not complete you, you can certainly ask her what she needs to meet your needs. For instance, you might say, "How can I help you with a hamper placement so that I can easily toss my socks in there?" She might forget to move the hamper because she's busy preparing dinner, picking up the kids, working long hours, or dealing with other responsibilities. There could be various reasons that prevent her from placing the hamper where it would be most convenient for you. Perhaps you can offer assistance in another area, even if it's unrelated, to make it easier for her to help you with the hamper. Always remember that you are both on the same team, working together toward a common goal, finding a solution that satisfies both of you. It's not about being adversaries. It's about collaborating to reach a happy resolution. Once you've navigated through the discussion, it's time to wrap things up with the final part of your conversation. Think of this as the last slice of the sandwich. Without it, you're left with an open-faced sandwich, which isn't very appealing in this context. The concluding slice should mirror the first slice. It could be in agreement with something she mentioned during the discussion, validating her feelings, or simply expressing appreciation for her. This could be as straightforward as saying, "Thank you for talking this through with me," or expressing your affection with a simple, "I love you," or a reassuring hug. However, it's best to save the hug for the end of the conversation, as you may feel tense at the beginning when issues are still unresolved. Even if you haven't reached a complete resolution, acknowledging the discussion and agreeing to revisit it later can be a positive way to conclude. If it feels right for your relationship, you might choose to wrap things up with a warm hug, but that's a decision you'll need to make based on your unique dynamic. Now, if you decide to apply the 3-step love sandwich approach, here's what you can expect. By the end, you'll likely feel a stronger connection with the other person. You'll also find yourself genuinely wanting to support them in achieving their goals, all while feeling confident that you're not sacrificing your own needs or values in the process. As a bonus, this approach might even lead to some unexpected, delightful moments of reconciliation that feel truly rewarding. For example, imagine resolving a disagreement with your partner and both of you walking away feeling heard and appreciated. That's the kind of outcome this strategy can help create. It's important to understand, though, that there's a clear distinction between manipulation and positive persuasion. Manipulation happens when one person benefits at the expense of the other, often leaving the other person feeling used or resentful. Positive persuasion, on the other hand, is a win-win situation. Both people feel valued, respected, and satisfied because neither is being taken advantage of. Think of it like negotiating a fair deal where both sides walk away happy, not like a one-sided victory where someone feels cheated. Now, as I promised, let's talk about when it's time to step away from a conflict, especially when dealing with an angry woman. There are times when trying to resolve a disagreement simply isn't worth the effort. Here's a real-life truth. If she is deeply emotionally wounded or perhaps just pushing your limits to see how you'll react, using the love sandwich strategy might not be the best move. Why? Because in such cases, it could make you appear weak in her eyes, which might lead her to take further advantage of you or test your boundaries even more. She might be looking to see if you have a strong sense of self, because if she can't find that strength, it could erode her respect for you. And without respect, attraction often fades. For instance, if she's constantly challenging you to see if you'll stand up for yourself, and you don't, she might lose interest altogether. So, how do you tell if she's just testing you or if she's genuinely upset? That's a critical question, and I've got you covered. Be sure to check out my video titled, "Is it a test or is she really serious?" 10 signs to know. Those 10 insights are absolutely essential for navigating relationships successfully. Without understanding these signs, you risk making serious mistakes, like missing out on a wonderful relationship with the right person, or worse, getting deeply hurt by staying involved with someone who isn't good for you. But once you're equipped with this knowledge, you'll be able to sidestep potential disasters and either find the amazing woman who's right for you or confirm that the woman you're with is truly the special one you've been searching for. So, go watch that video right now. It's packed with practical advice to help you thrive in your relationships. Thanks so much for being here, and take care.